Yes, good morning, students. If you can recall, in a last lecture, we had discussed about chromatin material. The way I mentioned in a last lecture that our genetic material, it is the material that stores information for characteristics that the organism possesses. Every species member possesses specific set of characters. To express these characters, an information is required. This information is loaded, stored in molecules which are identified as DNA. DNA being very lengthy, it is difficult to compress it and accommodate it inside the nucleus. Because when you try to compress that DNA, it itself has a negative charge. So the two parts of the DNA, when come close to each other, negative charge shall cause repulsion, and that doesn't allow the DNA to be compressed. That's the reason why the system uses specialized positively charged proteins named as histone proteins. Together along with these histones, also some non-histone proteins. They will help the DNA to undergo compression. There are two levels of compression. Level 1, where these DNA along with histone and non-histone proteins and small amount of RNAs also, together they get compressed to form the material that is identified as chromatin. This material will be seen when the cell is in interphase. Now when the cell goes for cell division, at that time it will be compressed to form what is called as chromosome. And when the cell completes the division and returns back to the interphase, again it goes back to chromatin state. This kind of interconversion carries on when cell moves from one stage to another stage of its cell cycle. Point is that the chromatin itself is comparatively compared to the chromosome, it's a loose network of nucleoprotein threads. We say nucleoproteins because DNA is nucleic acid and histone and other proteins are part of it. So it's a nucleoprotein thread which is in a loose, indistinct form spreaded within the nucleus at the time of interphase. At this stage, it can permit use of information. So this DNA can express itself during interphase. But when the time comes for cell division, you don't need expression of the DNA. You need to divide the DNA into two equal halves. Definitely the chromatin is not the one which can be equally divided. It is unorganized, spreaded network. So you got to condense it and organize it in such a way that it becomes a compact structure, what is called as chromosome. It's a dense, condensed form of nucleoprotein fiber. Material is the same, but its organization is different. When it is from chromatin to chromosome form, it is turning over there. You can divide the chromosome equally, properly. So that purpose is served, and that's why it is to be converted into chromosome. Again, when cell completes the division and goes back to the interphase, No need to divide it further. Now it is a time for expression of the DNA. So again, it has to be turned to chromatin. So in this explanation, you have understood that our genetic material can exist in two different forms. How they are, organized in the cell, at which stages, and why it happens. Why not throughout it remains as a chromatin, whether interphase or cell division, or why not it throughout remains as a chromosome. The purpose I have explained, that two different conditions have two different demands. So same material exists in two different formats. That is the conversion of this chromatin into the chromosome. So again, I would say that this is the chromatin material. It will organize to form these kind of a structure, which is identified as chromosome structure. This is a very vital topic, the chromosome structure, because even in 12th standard, so much of information is there that is based on chromosomes. Same thing being repeated, I would say, DNA along with histones. First, in the interphase, it forms chromatin, and later, at the time of cell division, it turns to chromosome. Again, when the cell goes back to the interphase, ये cell division का metaphase stage होता है. So when it goes from the cell division to interphase, it will again become the chromatin stuff. It will never be found as the pure DNA in our system. Our genetic material will never be found as a pure DNA in our nucleus. It will always be found in these formats only, either this or that. These two are the only options. Either it is interphase chromatin stuff, or else it's a chromosome of the cell division. Look at this one. Can you see this chromatin is further condensed and making the chromosome? Can you make out this aspect? Now, imagine that this is the chromatin material. At the time of cell division, this chromatin material is supposed to divide equally, and each daughter cell should receive same amount of genetic material. So for example, this is your genetic material. Same amount of genetic material needs to pass into the other two daughter cells when the mother cell divides. So logic says that first of all, you duplicate your genetic material and then divide it equally into the two cells. If father has a one house and he wants to pass on one house to both of his sons, one each. So first of all, father will have to make two houses and then will pass on one to each of his sons. So before the cell divides, whatever genetic material that it has to double that genetic material over there. It has to double that genetic material over there. So in a chromosome, when you see the two structures which look similar to each other and they seem to be joined with each other at a certain point, these two structures are identical chromatin materials. Whatever is present here, same stuff is present on the other side. These two are replica of each other. Whatever genetic material we have, its duplication, its replication is done. And these two replica remain joined with each other at a certain point. These two replica are known as sister chromatids. Individual one is a chromatid. The two of them are sister chromatids because they are identical to each other. And this point where these two are attached with each other, that is termed as centromere. That is termed as centromere, centromeric region of the chromosome. I repeat, you know the basics of chromatin and chromosomes, that in which stage which material is there and for what purpose they are formed. Now what I'm explaining to you is, if this is your genetic material, before the cell divides, this genetic material needs to make its identical copy. It needs to make its identical copy. Why identical copy is to be made? So that when this genetic material is distributed into the two daughter cells, each of them receives same amount of genetic material. Each of them receives same amount of genetic material. That's the purpose of duplication of the genetic material. So if this is the one chromatin thread, identical chromatin thread is created adjacent to it, attached to it. These two chromatid threads have a look. These two chromatin threads adjacent to each other. Individually, each one is called as chromatid, and when two of them remain joined with each other, you call it as sister chromatids. These two are supposed to be called as sister chromatids. Acha, the point where these two sister chromatids remain attached is termed as centromere. That is termed as centromere. Condensed chromatin is called as chromatid. The two identical chromatids are known as sister chromatids. And the point where they are attached with each other is termed as centromeric region or a centromere. Now, if you have any doubt, start asking about those. बोलिए श्रेया.
सर कोई एक सेल में सिर्फ एक ही क्रोमोसोम बन सकता है ना, या बहुत सारे बन?
No, in our cell there will be 46 chromosomes because there are 46 chromatin threads.
ओके सर, तो हर सेल में ऐसे 46 क्रोमोसोम्स बनेंगे?
अगर ह्यूमन है तो उसके हर सेल में.
हाँ,
किसी और ऑर्गेनिज्म में अगर उसका क्रोमोसोम नंबर 8 है, जैसे एक फ्रूट फ्लाई है तो उसका क्रोमोसोम नंबर 8 है. So each cell of its body shall have 8 chromosomes because its cell had 8 chromatins. So वो condense होके 8 chromosomes बनते हैं. हमारे सेल में 46 chromatin threads होते हैं. They convert themselves into 46 chromosomes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Well, next. Anyone else with any doubts, any questions? Jayati, you may ask. Jayati, you have any question? If yes, you may ask, or else I go to the next person. Fine. So, is there anyone who is not clear with what I am explaining? This is a very complicated, topic. I understand, but then I am revising and I am giving you one more opportunity. If you have any question, you ask. If you want me to revise, you ask. I'm ready for that. Okay, how many have understood this? What I have explained? Either you come in the category where you have understood, it is clear to you, or else you have not understood. But at least mention it. Madam, stop the recording for a while. Bindia ma'am. So our next topic is types of chromosomes based on types of chromosomes based on position of centromere. Based on the position of centromere, chromosomes can be classified into different categories. See, in our 23 pairs of chromosomes, some of them appear like this, some of them appear like this, some of them appear like this. So what happens is that there are 4 possible categories of chromosomes based on where the centromere is located in the structure of chromosome. In a given structure of chromosome, where exactly you find the centromere, you have 4 different categories. First of all, let us understand these 4 categories. Number 1, metacentric chromosomes. The one in which centromere is almost in the middle of the chromosome. It is almost in the middle of the chromosome. Hence, the length of the chromatids on either sides of the centromere is equal. The arms of the chromosome on either sides of the centromere are equal in length. Second category, submetacentric chromosomes. Those chromosomes in which centromere is placed slightly away from the middle, not exactly in the middle, little away from the middle. As you can see that due to this, arms on one side are shorter, arms on other side are longer. You understand this thing? Third possibility, acrocentric chromosomes. Those chromosomes in which the centromere is very close to the one of the end of the chromosome. Hence, arms on one side are very short and on the other side are very long. देखो यहाँ पे बोला equal arms, यहाँ पे बोला shorter and longer, यहाँ पे बोला very short on one side and very long on other side. अच्छा, fourth category is that centromere is actually at the end of the chromosome, terminal region. So virtually one side with no arms, arms only on another side. This is called as telocentric chromosome. Out of the 23 pairs of chromosomes, some of them are metacentric in appearance, some of them are submetacentric in appearance, some are even acrocentric in appearance. Humans में telocentric chromosome category absent होती है. We don't see any of our chromosome being a telocentric in nature, in appearance. How many of you could understand the same? Okay, is there any question on the same? Fine. Let's revise. Which is this category of chromosome? Metacentric. What is the position of centromere in this case? Middle of the chromosome. Correct, Jugal, correct. What about the length of arms on either sides of the centromere? Yes, Jugal, correct. Equal length. Which is the second category? Meet, correct. Submetacentric chromosomes. They are termed as submetacentric chromosomes. What is the exact location of centromere in them? Do not write down slightly away or little away from the middle. Middle से थोड़ा आगे पीछे. So arms on one side are, yes, on one side shorter and the other side longer. Little shorter and little longer. That's the kind of arrangement. What about the third category of chromosome? What you see here? Acrocentric. In this case, what about the position of centromere? Yes, Jugal, correct. Close to the end of the chromosome. How about the arms on either sides of this centromere? Yes, Smith, correct. Very short. Use करना पड़ेगा short and long के compare में. Very short and very long with respect to each other. And what about the fourth category? Telo. Here you have to consider meta, meta is somewhere in the middle, submeta is little away from middle, acro is near the tip, telo is at the tip. So telocentric. So where you see the centromere at the end, at the tip of the chromosome. So virtually on one side no arm and arms present on the other side. Which category chromosomes are not to be found in humans out of these four categories? Yes, telocentric one. when you see them, this is first is which one? First one seems to be which one? Correct. Second one seems to be which one? Correct, submetacentric. First was metacentric, second is submetacentric. Yes, you could identify correctly. How about the third one? Yes, it's the acrocentric. That's the correct answer. And how about the fourth one? Okay. Now, if I ask you, which English alphabetical letter that reminds you of this one, or which alphabetical letter you can visualize in this metacentric? V? It gives an appearance of a V. अच्छा, ये second वाला L. Capital L. ये third one acrocentric, yes, J. And telocentric, exactly, I-shaped. So we discussed about this four different types of chromosomes. A metacentric will appear like a V shape. Submetacentric will appear like an L shape. J shape for acrocentric, and I shape for telocentric. Always remember this one. One more aspect regarding these chromosomes. See, this is something what you learned just now. The V shape, metacentric, the L shape, submetacentric, the J shaped, acrocentric, and I shaped, this telocentric. Particularly the arms of the chromosome, if you see. So one of the arm is called P arm, and another one is to be called as Q arm. This specification is more clearer in the submetacentric and acrocentric, wherein one of them is shorter and another one is long. Comparatively, when it happens, so for a shorter arm, I use the word for a shorter arm comparatively. We use the labeling P arm. This is termed as P arm, and another one is termed as Q arm. In a given chromosome, the one which is a short one is called as P arm, and the one which is a long one is termed as Q arm. The P arm and the Q arm. These are the labelings that one needs to understand for these chromosomes. Particularly, देखो, टेलो में एक साइड पे आर्म्स होते ही नहीं, मेटा में इक्वल आर्म्स होते हैं. So this is more applicable for metacentric, the submetacentric and acrocentric, wherein one side arms are very short. For both short arms of these two sister chromatids, P arm, ये भी sister chromatids है एक दूसरे के साथ, but दोनों के short arms के लिए use होता है word letter P arm, और दोनों sister chromatids के ये दो Q arms होते हैं. So that is the information that you should have. बोलिए, इसमें कोई डाउट है? What you call the short arm of the chromosome, as particularly in submetacentric and acrocentric chromosomes, short arms of both the sister chromatids are termed as the P arms. And in a chromosome, both sister chromatids, long arms are called as Q arms. Short, small letter में Q लिखना है. Now, there'll be a break for 5 minutes and then we will resume our work. Ma'am, stop. So in a previous topic, we talked about the 4 different types of chromosomes. Now, one more aspect about the chromosome that you need to understand is, as you know that this is the centromere that is holding the 2 sister chromatids. If you see each sister chromatid, it has a terminal region. This terminal part is called telomere. What is a telomere? Telomere refers to terminal region of each chromatid. There are 2 chromatids. Definitely, because they are identical, we consider them as the sister chromatids. But remember that each chromatid at its terminal regions are known as, they are called telomeres. सेंट्रो का मीनिंग होता है सेंटर, टेलो का मीनिंग होता है टर्मिनल, एंड पार्ट. So this refers to the end part of the chromatid. This is a very vital component of the chromatid. Its composition and its significance is to be learned later on when you go in the 12th standard. But remember this one, each chromosome normally has got 2 chromatids. They are identified as sister chromatids, and each of these chromatids, sister chromatid, shall have 2 ends, and each end has a specific part within that chromatid. That specific part of the chromatid at the terminal region is termed as telomere. Telo refers to end, terminal region. Is that clear? The terminal seals ends of the sealed ends of the chromosome. ये जो क्रोमोसोम है उसके एंड पार्ट्स को जैसे सील किया हो किसी ने with the material, that part is termed as telomere. ये बाकी के क्रोमोसोम के स्ट्रक्चर को मेंटेन करने में हेल्प करता है, वरना यहां से अगर डैमेज स्टार्ट हो जाए तो पूरा क्रोमोसोम डिस्टर्ब हो सकता है. Is that clear? Yes, what you call the terminal region of each chromatid, it is termed as telomere. One more aspect I need to explain to you regarding the structure of this chromosome. As you can see here, this portion what you call this portion as, it should be known as what? Centromeric region. What do you call these two structures as? Sister chromatids. Can you see that on either sides of the centromere there are discs attached to them? The discs attached to the centromere. How many of you are able to make it out? These are known as kinetochores. These are known as kinetochores. The proteinaceous discs, which are present on either sides of centromeric region, centromere, they are termed as kinetochore. The disc-shaped structure, proteinaceous disc-shaped structure on the sides of the centromere is identified as kinetochore. That is termed as kinetochore. Remember this one. Acha. I told you that at the time of cell division, the chromosomes organize in the middle of the cell. You remember that? So that if this is the cell, inside the cell, chromosomes will get arranged on the middle part of it so that they can equally be divided. One sister chromatid can go on one side and another sister chromatid can go on the other side. And here are the centrosomes. Do you remember that? Yes or no? At least reply something. And do you remember these fibers which help in arrangement of chromosomes in the center? What you call these fibers as? Exactly, Jayati, Disha, fabulous answer. Spindle fibers, these are known as. And do you know these spindle fibers are made up of which material? The spindle fibers are made up of which material? Which protein? Which? Jayati Patel, very good answer. Microtubules. बाकी सब डोबे है, पता नहीं चला आप लोगों को. अगर याद हो तो माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स का फंक्शन था spindle fibers form karna and attaching to the chromosome and bringing the chromosome at the center of the cell. And can you focus that this is what, by the way? Chromosome. Can you focus that chromosome is attached, or rather spindle fibers are attached to the chromosome at the centromere, but on the sides of the centromere, where what must be present over here on the sides of the chromosome? Kinetochore. Yes, यहाँ पे भी आप देख सकते हो उसी चीज को. You see the spindle fibers which are growing from centromeric end, they extend and go and attach to the chromosome. But where they attach to chromosome? To the telomere? No. To the sister chromatid? No. Then they attach to the centromere. And on the centromere also which part? Those sides of the centromere where proteinaceous discs are present called kinetochore. There the microtubules have go and attach to the chromosome. So that is the significance of the kinetochore. Have you all understood? Do you have any question? Fine. बोलिए श्रेया.
हेलो सर. वो जो स्पिंडल फाइबर्स जो क्रोमोसोम को काइनेटोकोर से पकड़ के रखते हैं, तो सर वो जो सेंट्रोसोम होता है उसके अंदर जो सेंट्रियोल्स होते हैं वो अपने माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स देते हैं या वो अराइज होते हैं?
वो 10th चैप्टर में लर्न करेंगे.
ओके सर.
हाँ, सेल डिवीजन में आएगा वो सब.
ओके सर.
So now, what you call the discs present on the sides of centromere? Kinetochore. Yes, kinetochore nahi, kinetochore. What they are made up of? Proteins. What will attach to these kinetochores at the time of cell division to bring the chromosomes at the center of the cell? What will attach to them? Spindle fibers. That's a very good reply. And the last aspect regarding the structure of these chromosomes. In some chromosomes, please understand each term that I go through while explaining the secondary constriction. Not in all chromosomes, but in some chromosomes, you see that the way there is a centromere formed over here. Now the centromere has got another name that is called as primary constriction. It's a constriction within the chromosome that's called, within the chromatid, that is called primary constriction. Another name was centromere. So in some chromosomes, you see an additional constriction, and that additional constriction is known as secondary constriction. The labeling is wrong here. This is wrong. This one is correct. Remember, the one which I have labeled is the correct one. So what is a secondary constriction? In some chromosomes, in addition to the centromere, that is a primary constriction, near the end of the chromosome, there is an additional constriction. That constriction is identified as secondary constriction. And the remaining part of chromatid then after, this one I am talking about, is termed as satellite part. It is termed as satellite. It's a small fragment of chromatid beyond the secondary constriction. That is termed as satellite part. I'm looking for your questions, if you have any. What you call this one as? Yes, that is called as centromere. What is another name of the same? It's a constriction in that straight chromatid structures. It's called primary constriction. But in some cases, another such constriction is likely to be seen towards the end of the chromosome. For that, what term do you use? Yes, that's termed as secondary constriction. And the part of chromatid beyond this secondary constriction is called as satellite. Now, mind you, it's a secondary constriction which actually helps in formation of nucleolar organizer region. Obviously not there in textbook, but for your understanding, it's the secondary constriction which will form the NOR, nucleolar organizer region, that will form nucleolus. So I said that not in all chromosomes, जैसे हमारे 23 pairs है. So few pairs of ours chromosomes are having this secondary constriction. Not all of them have this feature. Is there any question on the same? Or else I declare it the topic concluded and chromatin and chromosome topics are finished. We go to the last one, microbodies, to wind up the matter. Okay, no question coming from your side. That means the things are clear. The last few points. Microbodies. See, the term itself explains micro. These are the small vesicles. Single membrane bound vesicle. What should be the equivalent to the single membrane? Another term. Unit membrane. A unit membrane around them. So these are small little vesicles bounded by the unit membrane to be found in plants and animals, and each one carries specific enzymes. You see, these are almost equivalent to the lysosomes. Lysosome is also single membrane bound. These are also single membrane bound. Lysosomes are also found in plants and animals. These are also found in plants and animal cells. Lysosomes also contain enzymes. They also contain enzymes. The difference is enzymes. Lysosome contains enzymes which are hydrolytic. So they are meant for digestion of molecules within the cell, different molecules within the cell. Whereas these are carrying specific enzymes for specific activity in the cell. जैसे पैरोक्सिसोम करके जो माइक्रोबॉडीज होते हैं, उनमें पैरोक्सीडेज होते हैं enzymes, which will help in peroxide molecule formation. Similarly, स्फेरोसोम करके जो माइक्रोबॉडीज होते हैं, उनमें फैटी एसिड के ऑक्सीडेशन के enzymes होते हैं. So these microbodies are concerned with the fatty acid oxidation over there. And glyoxysome करके जो microbodies होते हैं, वो glyoxate molecule को metabolize करते हैं. They are meant for metabolizing the glyoxylate. So peroxisome must have enzymes to form the peroxide. Spherosome must have the enzyme to carry out fatty acid oxidation. Glyoxysome should have the enzyme to metabolize the glyoxylate. So basically, lysosome, peroxisome, spherosome, glyoxysome, they all are different microbodies. Each one has a specific set of enzymes concerned with the specific activity in the cell. Like lysosome for hydrolysis of different molecules and digesting them. Peroxisome for peroxide formation. Spherosome for fatty acid oxidation, and glyoxysome for glyoxylate Metabolism. What are microbodies? Give the detailed explanation. What are microbodies? Exactly, Zenil, correct reply. Single membrane bound minute vesicles bounded by single membrane, unit membrane. In which category cells they are found? Yes, they are found in plants and animals. Each one contains what? Yes, each one contains specific enzymes. Which is the first category? Peroxisome, concerned with the peroxide formation. Hydrogen peroxide and other molecules are there. Their formation is done in that. Which is the second category? Yes, ferrosome. For fatty acid oxidation, they are meant. Which is the third category? Yes, glycosome for glycosylate metabolism. Well, finally, towards the conclusion, we can discuss about the plant cell and animal cell differences. The basic differences are mentioned here, that cell wall present around the plant cell, absent in the case of animal cell. Plant cells are provided with plastids such as chloroplast, leucoplast, etc., chromoplasts. Such plastids are missing, they are absent in case of animals. Generally, a one large central vacuole and few smaller vacuoles to be found in plant cells. Such large central vacuoles are missing in case of animal cells. Centrosome absent in plant cell, whereas it is present in case of animal cell. Now, last point you cannot remember at this point of time. You cannot understand this one. We will see it in the 10th chapter. Now, similarly, if we discuss about some differences which are between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes, single membrane system, means their cell membrane is single membrane, unit membrane, and internally so they have no other membranous structure. In case of eukaryotes, there are certain structures which are single membrane, like a vacuole, microbodies, lysosome, even the cell membrane. But majority organs are having even two membranes. Mitochondria, chloroplast, the cisternae, all of them have a two membrane envelope around them. So two membrane systems are seen in them, components are seen in them. So they are eukaryotes with the double membrane system. In the prokaryotes, cell membrane modifies to form which structures that will carry respiration, as they have the respiratory enzymes? प्रोकैरियोट का सेल मेम्ब्रेन का कौन सा मॉडिफिकेशन रेस्पिरेशन में हेल्प करता है? Mesosomes are the ones. Shreya, correct. Such components which carry respiratory enzymes are missing in the cell membrane of eukaryotes. They have the mitochondria specialized for that job. In prokaryotes, membrane-bound organelles are missing. The membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria, plastids, Golgi, ER, lysosome, microbodies, vacuoles, these things to be seen in eukaryotes. Ribosomes have a 70S category in prokaryotes. Eukaryotic ribosomes में cytoplasmic ribosomes are of 80S type. Inside the organelles such as mitochondria and plastids, they are of 70S type. And specifically in mammals, they are of 55S. Then comes streaming of cytoplasm. साइटोप्लाज्म के सेल के अंदर साइटोप्लाज्म का एक पार्ट में से दूसरे पार्ट में ग्रेजुअल मूवमेंट होना, शिफ्टिंग होना, that is called as cytoplasmic streaming. This doesn't occur in prokaryotes, it occurs in eukaryotes. Prokaryotic nucleus is without nuclear membrane. It is primitive. This is something which is very well developed in the case of eukaryotes. Prokaryotes possess single circular DNA. Eukaryotes possess linear several DNA fragments. हमारे सेल में हर एक सेल में 46 linear DNA fragments होते हैं. Histones are not associated with DNA in prokaryotes. Histones are associated with DNA in eukaryotes. So this is how we compare prokaryotes and eukaryotes. For any point or any other point, if you have any question, you ask. Okay, no question from your side? Madam, stop the recording. Well, with this, we conclude this chapter, chapter number 8.